Oneiros is back and he continues his journey in Megara. We still have the Sanguine Gladius of the Osprey in the inventory, and after talking to these two people for the quest Skeleton Raiders, we can leave Megara. I'll probably leave out these clips of talking to quest NPCs from now on. I don't think that they add too much to the experience, but I might show some of the more interesting ones. Before this episode properly starts though, I'd like to give a small update regarding the second mastery for Oneiros. Right now it looks like Nadan is the most requested one, and I think that is an interesting combination. If you prefer a different combination and like to complain about that, please do so in the comments. There is still a lot of time left until Oneiros gets his second mastery. We start the segment with a question that I also asked you in the first part. Have you spotted the epic item? This time I didn't, at least not right away. So after almost running past it, Oneiros collects Talium's Will, a bow which will rot in the caravan until we run out of space and sell it. Then we enter the ancient ruins of Old Eleusis, where we will have to kill 3 skeleton princes. Polypas, Prince of the Blade, is the first one, a rather uneventful battle. Then we search for Aristois, Prince of the Storm, who stands in a more densely populated battlefield, so his colleagues require some care first before we can finish Aristois with the Phantom Strike. Lastly there's Menon, Prince of the Bow, who also proves to be a very easy enemy to fight. Unfortunately, there are no noteworthy drops in these ruins. We then have to face Polyphemus, the Cyclops, who has got some nasty skills and an overall high damage output. His ability to stun and disrupt Oneiros are dangerous, but with a little bit of care, this fight is not as scary as it looks. Then we meet some drowned sailors for another quest, News of a Shipwreck. Our battle plan still works out well. Distraught Reality and Phantom Strike prove to be too strong for these sailors. Inside a cave at the coast of Megara we then meet a heroic Ichthyan called Malnor Darktide. I should have gone for the shamans here first. Their ability to heal the other enemies makes them a high priority target. After defeating his minions, Malnor Darktide is no danger to Oneiros. In the same cave we reach level 11, which means that we can now use the Sanguine Gladius of the Osprey. At the Ambrosios farmlands there is an item with a helpful suffix, namely of recovery, which raises your health regeneration rate. If you get a few of these items, which I did, you can get to an insane amount of regeneration, which is really good in the early game. I've managed to get to a regeneration rate of 27.72 with the Centaur Curious here. Another short side quest follows right after that. The mainnet priestess Ino stole Chiron's bow, and it is our task to retrieve it. In Ino's cave we can go for an incredibly long Phantom Strike, Ino flees as soon as we get close to her, and so we can travel to the end of the cave whilst being invisible. We can then bring the bow back to the center, and even get 2 attribute points for that. Then we get to the olive grove, where Arachne guards the sacred olive branch. She summons spectral spiders who thankfully go down to 1 distortion of reality. As long as you don't stand in the poison for too long, you shouldn't have any issues with Arachne. Turns out that she carried the Deathweaver's leg tip, a so-called monster infrequent, which is a powerful melee weapon, and in the chest here there is an arcane formula, the Shroud of Eternal Night. The artifact is incredibly powerful in the early game. It gives 10 flat damage, 10 pierce damage, 10% attack speed and 20% vitality damage resistance. I'd love to complete that one, but we will have to see if we can find all the ingredients. Another quick side quest follows, Goods Abandoned, where Oneiros simply has to walk over these chests here, and during the fight against the skeletons he reaches level 12. Just after that there is a group of centaurs. One of the equine creatures wears an Outrider's tunic, another monster infrequent, which gives, among others, a bonus on movement speed. You might know by now that I'm a big fan of movement speed, so a regular Outrider's tunic would have been good enough for me, but this one even has a bonus to health regeneration on it. In the Phocian swamps we then meet a hero turtle, the old snapper, and as if that wasn't bad enough, Malnor Darktide is back. Apparently he wants a rematch, but he didn't prepare too well for it, so these 2 heroes also go down easily. Unfortunately, things look a bit different in the next cave, because right here is the home of Shadowmaw. Well known for being one of the toughest enemies in Greece, this demon caused many deaths among unprepared heroes. He has an enormous damage output, because he is dual wielding his heads, if you can call it that, and each of them can hit Oneiros for about 300 damage. The near death bell indicates that this could have been the end of the run. But after some back and forth, and with the support of a battle marker, Shadowmaw was finally defeated. Something a bit more relaxing, this quest, a Master Weaponsmith, can be completed here. Trivia: this vendor pays higher prices for items that you sell to him. The maximum is still at 10,000 gold, but he pays 50% more than any other vendor. While Oneiros fights another group of satyrs, he then finds another arcane formula, and it is once again the Chaos Cube. We already have one of those, but I still wanted to include that in this video just in case we need 2 of them. Then there is another group of tame looking satyrs, but as Oneiros gets hit with a fire AoE spell, it is apparent that there is another hero satyr. He hid in the foliage, his name is Fernos Charskin, and he is also quite tame. As he tries to escape, Oneiros tricks him with a Phantom Strike, stuns him and lands the final hit. Then there is one last hero monster before Delphi, Xactil Etherweb. Sadly there isn't much to talk about in this fight. Oneiros takes out the smaller creepy crawlies, and once they are dead, Xactil has no chance against us. Oneiros then finally enters Delphi, and he does so with a bang. Yes, that was very satisfying. We can activate the Rebirth Fountain, talk to the Grieving Widow, and then collect a permanent resistance at the entrance of the temple and talk to the Oracle for some more experience. The last thing that I'd like to show here is the skill tree at level 13. Dream Stealer and Distort Reality are high enough for now, and I'd like to work towards the Temporal Flux skill to increase the survivability even more. In the next part we will continue and hopefully kill the Gorgons, but that's it for now. Oneiros deserves a small break after fighting all these bosses.